Welcome to the Loving Lake Geneva podcast. I'm your host, Karen Stray Rappaport. Each episode, I take an outside the wake look at the area's most interesting people, places, and happenings. It's another great day here in Lake Geneva, and the lake looks stunning, so let's jump right in. Well, today we have with us John Schnabl, who is the founder and owner of LG Transportation, among many other things. Welcome, John.
Hey, thanks, Karen, for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's awesome what you're doing with Loving Lake Geneva here. More people need to know about this area. It's exciting. There's a lot of growth happening. It's for everyone, really. Like, we can go into it, I'm sure, like on this podcast. But I'm excited for what's going on in Walworth County right now.
It's an amazing place to live, and I know you work pretty much 24/7. So taking the time out to be here is, I feel very grateful. So thank you. And for those who have not met you yet, I don't know, I can't believe anybody hasn't met you yet. You are such a big personality, such a charismatic person, such a hardworking person, and such a prominent person here in Walworth County and all that you do to help keep our community great. So we'll get into some of that, all of that. But can you just start out by telling us about what is LG Transportation?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to go back to, I just want to say thank you. And that, like, it's always funny to hear, Becca and I get stopped all the time in public, like Walworth County. Yeah, it's 30,000 people right now. I just want to touch base on that. This is like, we live in the greatest country, and that because we have the opportunity to be anybody and do anything that you want here. And with that is so much opportunity. If you're in the right area, you have the right mindset, and you're here to help people. That's what I say with small business owners. You don't go into business for yourself. You go into business to serve your community. And I think that's why a lot of small business owners fail, is because they're too worried about themselves. And I get it. The money aspect, everything. But LG Transportation, we can go more into that with our story, but LG Transportation is a company started in 2018. We are a passenger transportation company for the long distance. So we service Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, and Minnesota. So I know that sounds crazy to say.
That goes back to why I say you work 24/7.
People are like, no way. They actually call bull on it, but it truly is. We're a long distance passenger transportation company. We're basically a charter service now. We do a lot of stuff out of Illinois. Yes, we're based here. Becca and I are based in Walworth County. This is where we live, but the business is in basically multi-states, and that's our strength. We're not one location, we're in many locations.
And, I have used you many, many times. And, people get so nervous traveling, especially, I mean, I know it's not just the to and from airports that you do, but that's what I've used you for the most. And it's nerve-wracking. Like, am I going to catch my flight? Am I going to miss my flight? Or coming back? Like, my flight's delayed. Am I going to get a ride home? And there's a lot of nerves involved in traveling. And I have to say, your company just takes that all away. Like, you have been 100% dependent, always there, always on time, always professional, always understanding about delays coming back with the flights. And just I can't say enough. And it's so refreshing to deal with a company that is just top notch and professional like you. So, I firsthand cannot recommend you enough. But I mean, I know you do more than rides to the airports. Like, what other kind of things do people use LG Transportation for?
Yeah, so it's actually a long story. I mean, if you want to know, I'll tell you. And that, so basically, Becca and I started this in 2018 from a friend, and he was in a wedding industry, successful photographer. And the thing with business owners, when they think they're really successful in their business, they think they know other people's businesses and how to run them. So he pitched this idea that Becca and I should start a party bus company. 50/50. I'm telling you how this actually started. I actually don't share this story much. So actually, here you go. People are going to learn the deets. Long story short, Becca and I didn't have the money to buy a bus, right? It cost about $47,000 is what our first bus cost us. I was working at Walmart. Becca was in full-time school, and she worked at Target. And that's the real story of us. So we were just average people. We just got married 6 months before this. So we were newlyweds. We bought a 90, this is back in 18 or right at the end of 17, we bought a $93,000 house. It was our starter home. And we fixed it up a lot. Actually, the market was on our side. We got our interest rate. I think it was like a 3.1 interest rate at the time. It's like crazy to say that now, you know?
Different now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so long story short, he's like, oh, like he basically pitched it. You guys are going to make so much money, right? And we were young and naive. And so we sucked out all the equity out of the home to buy this party bus, not knowing anything about the transportation industry. And so long story short, it fell through with that person. And Beck and I were stuck with this bus and took out all the equity out of our home. So we had to figure out, what are we going to do here? We actually tried to sell the bus. I'm being completely honest. We actually just turned around and tried to sell it. Somebody offered us and it was $7,000 less. So right off within 30 days, we lost $7,000 basically, right? If we sold. And we said, let's try to figure this out. The worst part of it is Becca and I, the party bus industry is a seasonal business. And Becca and I bought it, I want to say it was like in October or November. So we were going into the cold season, which we missed the wedding season then, basically, which that's where all the money. So we basically were working our jobs. She was going to school still. And yeah, we just kind of ate it. We ate it for years, actually. The first 3 years, we held jobs. This is the part of entrepreneurship people don't talk about. People think that people look at us now and they're like, they must be millionaires. They must be so successful, you know? And it's like, Beck and I have almost gone bankrupt twice, not once, twice. We worked full-time jobs for the first 3 years of the business. Our jobs were paying the business to stay afloat. You know, it's like, this is the stuff people don't talk about with entrepreneurship. And that's why I'm a businessman. At the end of the day, I became one. I became a businessman, and you have to. Otherwise, if you don't like figure this stuff out fast, you are, at least for us, because we didn't come from the Lucky Sperm Club. We didn't have investors. I know that's what I tell people a lot. We both came from very, very lower middle class households, you know. For instance, like when I was a kid, I hate to even share this, but this is how poor my side of the family was. It was like under 10. I realized my family was really poor around maybe 12 or 13. And that my parents are good people, you know, and everything like that. But like, it's just, they didn't make money. Let's be honest, you know. And my parents were so broke that my dad took our pillowcases with us to go beat geese in the park for food. That's a true story. We were hunters and fishers. All we did was fish and hunt. That was our thing, and I'm being dead serious. And everything was a crock pot. I hate crock pots. Don't ever make me a crock pot to this day, because that's what I lived through my whole childhood with my family. But that's a little backstory. Like, I share that because people like have this illusion. Like, that's like the thing. Like, you have to paint the picture. It's like, this is what you see now is not what I grew up as. It's not how we started it. You know, this takes years, you know, and statistically, 50% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. Going forward on that, 35% of small business owners only make it to the 10th year. So think of that. Like, it's insane. Like, I think that's a thing that people really, and that's what I paint for myself too, is like, you don't know what you don't know till you get into it. And then you realize it's really hard. I know I ramble, please.
No,
I know
it's great. I mean, people need to hear that because, like you said, I think people, oh, let's start a business. How fun.
I ramble, but like, this is who John Schnabl is. I get really passionate about this stuff, you know?
Well, and you should. You've worked really hard to get where you are. And I'm sure there's been some obstacles along the way. Like, what are some of the most challenging things about growing this business?
Everybody's story is different, right? No, you can't take what John and Becca did and try to replicate it. And that's why I tell, because there's been numerous people throughout the years. They said, well, they figured it out. They're doing well. I'm going to do it too. I won't even mention the names. There's been dozens of people try to do what we do. And it's really hard to scale. The first thing is insurance. Insurance is one of our highest bills. Actually, people always find that fascinating, but I didn't know that till I actually had an insurer. It's crazy. The premiums are nuts. Everything is. Um, I'm sorry, Karen. What was the question? Sorry.
Just about like just, the obstacles. What have been some of the hardest things over the years about growing the business?
Uh, you don't know what you don't know,
Mhm.
and it takes years to learn how to do it. If there's no blueprint to this, you can't go to a competitor and ask them for help. They're going to laugh at you. I've done it. Um, and they don't have to. They know you're going to fail. The odds of, especially for passenger transportation, the odds are very slim. Uh, Becca and I had some luck, and I tell that, like, I'm not a genius. I'm not. I try to keep it real, like really real with people. Like, we had some luck. We were the right people for the right business, though, and that's what I tell people. If you want to be a business owner, learn who you are first. Becca and I, we don't have children together. She has a child, and that it's mine too. But you get my point. We didn't have children. We didn't start a family here. The business is our family. We literally are open every single hour of every day. I've missed family weddings. I've missed funerals. I've missed Levi's concerts. I've missed a lot of stuff in my life. And I would say that to the normal person, who know what you're willing to sacrifice, because if you want success, you're going to have to make some extreme sacrifices. You're going to lose family members. You're going to lose friends. People are going to hate you. They're going to think you're greedy. No, they don't know what's on your shoulders. I have people that rely on me for their mortgages, their rents, child support with some people. Like, people have a lot of stuff that I have to, if I'm failing, they're going to have to, like, yes, they could go find another job. Yeah. But I don't want, it's like, I got to take care of these people, and people don't know what the bills we pay. So unless you live our life, you can't say you guys are doing it wrong. And everybody's story is different. That's why I say, like, that's just our story. We have been over leveraged throughout the years. And I actually pulled this book up. So I've had financial advisors, I've done courses, I've read tons of books throughout my short little career here with this company, right? And I think, like, for me, and I only am speaking from my heart, is like, you got to know who you are, and then you need to educate yourself. Like, you actually have to. I'm glad we actually had the hardships that we had, because if we didn't, I would be relying on other people for those things. Sometimes you just need to get kicked in the head, a bunch. And
Mhm.
because, like, you're going to be like, I don't want that to happen. And I actually pulled this book up. So in 2023, Becca and I posted a negative $72,000, and our loan officer looked at us saying, "You guys are underwater. If the music stops, you will lose your home, you will lose the business, you will lose everything. You guys are over leveraged. The business is underwater." I'm being serious. We were maxed out on business credit lines, maxed out on credit cards. We were maxed out on personal credit cards. We took, because the bank stopped giving us loans, so our processors are Square and Stripe. They gave us loans then, which is horrible. Never do whoever you process, don't ever take those loans from those companies. But we did. We made all these mistakes in that. And then in 2023, I came across this book that somebody actually on social media recommended, and it's called Profit First. I don't know if you can see this.
Mhm.
Look, a lot of people actually, like, you know, not saying you're an irresponsible person, but sometimes, like, or we're irresponsible people, but sometimes, like, you just get put in bad positions, and you, it's about survival. It's not, I have this, actually, here's one of my sayings. It's not the best man standing, it's the last man standing in business. And that, because, like, if you can survive recessions, if you can survive COVID, if you can survive lawsuits and all that stuff, nothing's going to kill you if you're still standing, but people, it's not the best. It's whoever's last standing is going to be the one in the market.
Like you said, people might look like, oh, they started a business. Look how successful they are, and there's a lot in between that goes on. And I think people maybe who are kind of where you were years ago, like faced with debt and thinking, this is it. This is the end of the road for us. Like, we got to close up. We're
Yeah.
going to lose the house. That there is hope, and you can come back from it. I mean, you're still growing today, right? And you have plans for an even bigger future.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Yeah.
I can't share. I don't feel comfortable sharing with the next step that we're doing, just because of strategy.
Mhm.
Um, want somebody to pick up on what I'm trying to do next. But yes, the company is expanding in some other areas, and I'm just not comfortable sharing it yet. I haven't even advertised it yet,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like
Exciting things ahead. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, so
you're,
there are things ahead. So let's go back. I don't know if you want to edit this, but going back with the profit first. So since Becca and I, this book is so great, man, and you actually have to follow it. There's like, there's sections and it's about paying yourself first, really. But Becca and I really don't pay ourselves. We were basically paying debt down first,
yeah.
and we got under control. It took us, what was that? So 2023, and here we are in 2026. The company is finally starting to balance out on the debt ratio, because that's the thing, people don't get it. Like, uh, for instance, if you have 10 vehicles, our average vehicle puts on 90 to 120,000 miles on it per year. So you only get about 2 years on that vehicle. So if you have 10 vehicles and the average vehicle is between $30,000 to $50,000, you could be spending $300,000 to $500,000 every 2 years to replace your fleet, kind of
Hmm.
thing. Like it's not something like you literally have to plan this stuff out. Yes, you try to milk some vehicles out longer than others, to try to be profitable, but it's a constant rotation. I'm so blessed that we've made it this far. I'm grateful. Like, people think like I just keep it real, like there's
Yeah.
no.
Just the stress too of like all the unpredictable things that happen, people's flights being delayed, their plans changing, weather, snow, traffic, all of that. It's like I'm sure you're constantly having to pivot, and then it's a domino
Yeah.
effect, with all your employees and the cars and the drivers and the passenger. I just, to me, it sounds so hard.
You have to be, so with this, it's like you have to be a good operator. Um and it's if you took this, if where we are in 2026 and you handed this to me just even 2 years ago, I wouldn't be able to do it. And that's the thing. You actually have to be molded into what you are. And this just takes time. Everything takes time in life. And Becca and I are just, we don't know what the future will hold, but as long as we are together, that's all that matters. We are a husband and wife partner in this. And that's like some of the best parts of my day is actually I get to do business with my wife, and like we're best friends. She's my lover. She's my partner. We do everything. Like it's a lot of fun, and I'm grateful that we even get to that, because I know a lot of business owners, it's like one spouse is in the business and the other one works a job to support that spouse, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm just so grateful that, like that first 3 years Beckon did, and we said, this is just getting too much. We had to quit our jobs. And that's when actually the bankruptcy started happening, because the jobs were supporting the business, you know? And then Becca and I said, we're going to become a 24/7. So basically my thought process on how we did this was, the bank, with how much debt we had, is charging us to be in business every hour of every day. So why am I not making money every hour of every day to offset it? Even if I'm breaking even, at least the bills are getting paid. And that doesn't include payroll, that doesn't include insurance, breakdowns and all that. So let's just deal with the bank today. That's who we were. Let's figure out the bank. And I can't do we can't do what we do without our amazing team. And like, it's really cool. Like a lot of small business owners don't even offer healthcare or 401ks and stuff. And that's something Beck and I just implemented recently. And it's like, this is a growth thing. We're building a company, like, and it's hard to offer healthcare to people when you're barely making it yourself. And
Yeah.
like, and that's what I know so many people. I actually just talked to a gentleman the other day. He's like, I can't keep retention in my business with employees. And I
Mhm.
said, are you offering healthcare? Or, like, he's like, well, I'm the highest paying person in my sector of business. That's great. But you can be the highest paying, but you got to think of people want a warm, fuzzy feeling at the end of the day that this company is taking care of, not me, but if my wife needs to go to a hospital, I need insurance, like,
Right.
and that just comes down to being, I'm not beating up anybody. Everybody has a different story, but for me, I think it's about being a good owner and taking
Mhm.
care of the people that are actually risking their futures on you.
Yeah.
And like, you have to take care of your team. You have to provide them with good pay. You have to give them healthcare. You should, get set up with 401k so they have a future if they want to retire, like that is being a good owner. And it's hard. I get it. It's hard. It costs more money. Everything costs money.
Right,
So,
right.
so
And
I
what
don't
do
know.
you
That's
think, like, I mean, you've been here, you're third generation here, a
yes.
local here, so which is really nice because you're really immersed in this community. And I mean, what changes have you seen or are you seeing in Walworth County that you think are affecting these small businesses? I mean, you touched on some of that, but you
Yeah,
know,
this is great. So yes, I am a third generation local LG, well, Lake Geneva. I
right.
call it a
We all
I
know
don't
what
know.
that is.
So that's actually the funny thing is the name changed too. Our company's name. So it used to be Lake Geneva Party Bus Company. And because we brought like pushed out to all these different states and stuff, we rebranded it to just LG. But it's still like, I don't know. I wanted to keep the Lake Geneva name in it still somehow. So we did LG Transportation to broaden the name so it's people aren't booking from Minnesota and Lake Geneva Party Bus Company,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, going back to Walworth County, man, we are in a very, very interesting time, I think. And I think there's some, I've gone to a couple meetings and I just like observing, I'm an observer. People always want me to get involved. And I'm like, I don't do the politics game. I tried that earlier on. I didn't like it. I'll just speak to myself. Politics are messy, especially local politics too. But Walworth County, I think so since 2020 to 2025, we've seen a massive, massive growth rate here. So the population of Walworth County is 106,000 people that are registered, like living here is 106,000 people. The reason why I know that is because for curious sakes, we have like Walworth County Network and it's 30,000 people. So I'm like, how many people from Walworth County are truly here? And like, you can see the data and stuff too of what towns, and actually Elkhorn is the most people, believe it or not, for Walworth County Network that are on that group is actually the town of Elkhorn is like, I think it's like 6,000 residents out of Elkhorn are on Walworth
Uh,
County.
and can you
Yes.
explain what that is? It's a social media site that can
Yeah,
anybody join that or
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so Walworth County, I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry,
That's
Karen.
okay. No, that's perfect. Well, Walworth
You want
County,
to go back
like you
to
said, has 30,000 followers.
correct. Let's go back though. We'll get to the Walworth County. I want to go back because I think this is a really interesting topic. It's really important. People are freaking out right now with data centers and everything in the farmland, and I think there's pros and cons to everything. I'm neutral. I'm not one or the other. We'll just see where the cards fall, and I think people need to pick up wherever that is. So some things are just out of our control. I always tell people if you want to play politics, become Elon Musk. Whoever has the biggest bat is going to win. Become a billionaire if you really want to make a difference. Yeah, can people vote and all that? Yeah, but that's just my thing. If you want to make a difference, you got to have power, and if you don't have power, you're not going to make a difference. People can argue that through history. People can say there's been people that have changed the course of history. Some people with no power and they became powerful. But anyways, my point is Walworth County is in a huge growth rate right now since 2020 to 2025. I would say I know we're in 2026. The last 5 years, everybody can say it. Farmlands have been bought up. Residential homes are popping up like crazy, and it's not locals. I don't know any family that's making $50,000 right now as a household in Walworth County, like the actual residents that are buying $700,000-800,000 homes that are being put up in cookie cutter neighborhoods, and that like that's the math doesn't even math there for somebody to even afford it. So it's a huge push from Illinois, and it's happened since COVID. Everybody's been moving up here. So the last 5 years, you've been seeing the growth here. So me as a businessman, I only look at things as business because like that's what I'm here for, is just trying to stay ahead of the game. But I think this is going to be interesting. So the last 5 years, we've seen massive growth, farmland being developed into households, even like Symphony Bay over there. It's crazy. Have you seen the extension that they made? And now they're like on the highway almost. Like it's
Yeah.
nuts. And that used to be the racetrack. Like I went there, like that's like the OG side. It's like I remember that was the racetrack, So it's crazy to see it's this massive subdivision now. But so we've been seeing all this push of growth of residents. And I think in the next 5, 7 years, because the demographics changing, people are going to be pushed out. It's sad to say, like this happens all the time. It's happening in Beloit right now, actually. I have a friend that's a huge investor that's out there, and he's seeing the migration. People from Beloit are now going into South Beloit or Rockford, because of the growth that's happening there too, with Diane Hendricks redeveloping that area. So the people that are lower middle class can't get their rent raised, so they have to find somewhere cheaper to go. And that's what's happening in Walworth County too, is these homes and everything, rent is through the roof for people. Homes are really high. Who's buying this stuff? I think it's a lot of Illinois push, and it's Illinois money. So I think the demographic of Walworth County is going to change, and I think some people are really mad about that. And I get that there's a lot of cute boutique towns in here. That's what keeps that vibe, is that small town feel. It's farmland, lots of farmland around here, and it's just, things are just growing like crazy. So I think what's going to happen is the demographics changing of the clientele base is going to be different here. It's not going to be the local, people. It's, and I know this because I transport a lot of people, and my company does. You're seeing tons of more executives. This used to be for people's second homes. Now they're becoming their main homes. And they're moving out of Illinois, and they commute into Illinois for work still. But they live here permanently for tax purposes. They can get more bang for their buck than buying something in Illinois. And so what's going to happen here in the next 5 to 7 years is you see all this push of Chicago crowd coming in. You're going to start seeing more Chicago names coming in for businesses, for services. Some of these people are business owners, and they're already adding a second location up here. I won't share their information, but people are moving up here. You have Bona, that's a Illinois. You got all these companies that are coming in, and they're serving the Chicago clientele, because Chicago has a different vibe of what they want. And so I'm sad to say it, but I do think Walworth County, the towns are going to come together, kind of like how Milwaukee is. You can literally be 2 feet in two different towns in Milwaukee, because it grew so much, and it's Milwaukee, but there's actually different, things that it all comes together. And I know that's so sad, but I could see that coming, that, you just go Fontana to Williams Bay, butt up, it's like, it just seems like it's one town, but it's actually two towns or whatever, like Elkhorn and Delavan meeting up, and it's because they're just doing is the county F, there's another subdivision being built out there in Delavan.
Yeah.
And this is just farmland. So if the farmers keep selling out, and that, you're just going to have these towns come closer and closer and closer with subdivisions and businesses and all that we're going to look like a Milwaukee, you could be in two towns at one time.
Yeah. And people, we love our lakes up here, but we also love, the open land, and, just seeing that sunset over a farmland is just as beautiful. And, and all the woods. And I mean, I'm on the board of the Geneva Lakes Conservancy, so we're working very hard to preserve as much of the land as possible as well. So, but it's hard. It's hard. Everybody's got to play some role in that, and there's a lot of ways that people can help with that too. But so for the Walworth County Network page, so
yes, I know
30,000 followers. Anybody can join. I know there's been, as every social media site, there's always controversy and people that are not nice. But tell us why you started it.
Yeah, so actually I started Walworth County Network with some other individuals in 2020. I came up with the name, I started it, Becca and I put it all together, and we had other local small business owners in it. You have to be careful who you let in, let's say that. And that goes for business or even starting a Facebook group. And if your visions don't align, if your hearts don't align, if the mission of what you're trying to do doesn't align with other people, it's not going to work. And so I was the one that started it. It was my idea to start it. I just didn't have the right people when I did start it. So right off the bat, it was rocky, which is so stupid because it's just a Facebook group, guys. That's
right. What there's obviously mostly, wonderful things that happen there with networking and people exchanging information. It's very positive. Okay. It's just, like I said, with any social media site, you're going to get,
Yeah. But the gist of it was it was started in 2020. Everybody was hurting. And the demographic of a lot of small businesses here in Walworth County is an older clientele. They aren't on social media. I've seen a big push though since COVID though, like basically like from here, a lot of local small businesses are on social media now, but I would say before 2020, a lot of them weren't. I think 2020 was a huge push for social media in general. And it's helped a lot of people actually make more money because people know their name,
Mhm.
and their service or their food or whatever. So long story short, I started it to basically help small businesses in that because I was a small business owner. I was hurting too. Everybody was hurting. But it actually didn't pick up traction in that. And it's just like anything. Why would anybody want to be on this group? You have to create value. And that's what I say with everybody. You have to create value in whatever you are doing, whether it's a Facebook group, a small business, a hobby, whatever. If you're not creating value for somebody to be interested in it, you're not going to get traction in your life. And so I said to myself, sorry, let me turn off my phone here. I said, I'm going to get on camera and I'm going to interview local businesses and promote them myself. I'm not a promoter. I was so bad at it at the beginning. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And you just figure it out, right? So, but long story short, it took off. I started interviewing local businesses. The numbers started growing. And with that comes complications of opinions. And I would say, be careful. Would I start another Facebook group or would I even start another business? I don't know. I don't know. Like, would I have a reset button? No, I have no regrets of the things I've done, and of what got me here. Everything that has happened to me made me who I am. And that comes with wisdom and discernment from hardships. And I don't want to give those hardships up because it made who John Schnabl is today.
Mhm.
And that's what I would say with people. People want to start Facebook groups. I actually closed down Walworth County Network at a point, because it got so bad. And it became like the Greg Cunis effect. I love the Cunis family. People don't know the Cunises. They don't. They know the business, and there's a lot of heat on the Cunises. People don't realize, Greg cuts a check for $5 million every year for charity for this area. People can say that's for tax purposes. No, it's not. He can put that $5 million into his business and still write it off the same. He chooses to do it for charity. He could do it for Cunis Corporation instead. He doesn't need the tax write-off. And that's what people mislead about charity donations. They think that is a tax write-off. No, I do charity donations too. I won't mention how much name or things. We actually do post, like I'll say it, like Gape House and Maple Fest every year. LG Transportation is there to help, and that I'll say that because those are two groups that we're really passionate about what they do. If you actually look behind in it. But
And not
yeah,
just the money that you give, though, the time that you take to, including your fun food reviews. But think
no,
of
I'm
how
sorry. I'm
many of
going.
those that has driven people to go check out. Like I've discovered new places since you've been doing those food reviews. Like they're a riot, they're fun to listen to, and they're driving business to those businesses, which, so all of your time and that kind of energy is also incredible too for what you do here.
Yeah, so I know we're going all over the place. I know we're on a time crunch too. That you're keeping me on pace. I'll ramble forever. So with Walworth County Network, yeah, I did the interviews, and then what was happening, I was seeing other people catch on. So after I closed that, there was a lot of hate, and I closed it. I reopened it because it does serve a purpose for so many people here in Walworth County, and half the county hates me, half the county loves me. It really is. It's like when you become a staple in the area or your business or you're controlling a large group of people, it's just like politics too. Half the country hates you, the other half loves you. And that's what I would say is be careful what you really want without knowing the cost or consequences of you trying to just even help people. That's what I always say. I'm like, dude, we're not trying to do anything besides help people, but half the county is going to hate you. The other half will hate you, love you for no reason. Like they just like it's opinions. So long story short, I actually did stop interviewing local businesses for a time. I don't know if I'll do it again. It came down to the time aspect. And you probably are experiencing this yourself when you start bringing people onto your show. I get it. they have businesses, they have kids, they have this, that, and they start canceling and you try to reschedule 2, 3 times. And it's like, dude, I'm doing this for free to try to help you. Like I'm not getting paid to do this, like, so I switched. That's the thing. I started seeing more people actually ride this wave of entering businesses. And I say everybody should create a personal brand. You should have a personal brand besides your business too, of who you are, what do you stand for, what do you care about and all that. And like, let people know who you are. I think people should be loud and proud. Like, I don't care where like, I might not agree with everybody's opinions too, but I'm actually happy that people are actually becoming themselves and not afraid to become themselves. And I encourage that. Free speech it's important. Be who you are. And we have these tools. Look at Zoom, what we're doing right now. Like, use social media, use these tools to help you and help your communities. But the food reviews came because I like to be ahead of people. So I saw this wave. I felt like I kind of pushed it with Walworth County Network, and I've seen other people jump on that bandwagon. And I said, what's the next thing that no one's doing in this county? And I said, no one's doing food reviews. There's not one person. And I told Becca, I said, watch what happens. And it probably is people are going to be like, I'm going to do one after this podcast, that we're doing. But it's like, no one's doing food reviews for local businesses in this county. And I said, I'm going to be that guy. And so I started that actually in January. I try to, it's hard to do because of my time. Becca and I work between 70 to 90 hours a week is actually what our schedule looks like. Usually every week or every day. We get 7 days off in spring and we get 7 days off in the fall. We only get 14 days off and it's split up, and that's just for that. And then we work 7 days a week the rest of the year. So it comes down to two, but I basically wanted to do food reviews. No one was doing it. And I love food. I'm a fat kid at heart. That's what I tell people. I'm a fat kid at heart. So it was something I was passionate about. It's something to help local restaurants out. And I'm loving every bit of it, man. I'm just, I need it.
And it helps to actually see the food too, because you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
really good.
Exactly. So
And I
yeah,
know
like,
that they're all very grateful, all the places that you've featured. I've been very, very thankful.
yeah, it's been fun. This is just what, like, that's what I tell people, like, life can get really serious, but enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy the moments because you don't get time. Like, I don't feel my age. I feel a lot younger, but my body feels old. And that's really, like, I'm just saying, like, man, just enjoy the moments that you're in, good or bad. They're just moments. They're not going to last forever. But time's going to fleet away. So like, take those pictures with your family or the successes that you do with your business or anything. And actually, like, that's why I do so much on social media too, is like, it's almost like a memory book for me, and Becca and I look back of like, oh my God, look where we started, or, oh my, it's fun to look back. And
Yeah. I love when Facebook brings up like those,
yeah,
the
memory.
memories, and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. It is that I think that's the way most people keep their memories and photo albums now, just by the posts. But can you tell us how people can get a hold of you? How can they get a hold of LG Transportation? How do they get on the network page if they want to?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. So you can call or email. That number is 844-787-9225. That's for the business line. That is not my personal number for anybody that is curious. That you will get a representative that will pick up the phone and they will help you book your thing. Or you can email the company at info@lgtransportationmidwest.com.
Wonderful. And I always end by asking, and you've kind of answered this throughout the way, but what is your favorite thing about living in this area?
I know I went kind of deep with everything, and I rather keep it real too. Like, I hope the data centers don't happen. And that, I know I said I try to be like in the middle, but like, this is a beautiful country. Wisconsin, like, go up to Door County. It's gorgeous.
Mhm.
Like Wisconsin is just so natural and it's beautiful. And I get it. I get why these things are happening. I do get it. And I don't know if people can stop it or not. Maybe we can preserve some land and stuff. But I would say the scenery here. I mean, go walk the lake path. It's gorgeous, depending on what time you go to. Like, go in the morning or go in the evening when the sun sets or sun rises and walk that lake path on a crystal, like the lake is, you've seen it. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, glass. It's like not even a wave. It's just so calm and quiet. And just like breathe it in, like take the moment in. Like this is such a beautiful area to live in. I think some data that I saw, 1.7 million tourists come to Lake Geneva from April to October. And that's why the roads are so crazy on the
Yeah.
weekends. That's why because everybody is coming here.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous place to live. The school systems are amazing here for raising a family. This is a low crime area. You don't have major crime here. It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to have a business with this growth coming in. It's a great place to just enjoy life. And that's what I believe Loving Lake Geneva is trying to represent is this beautiful area that we live in.
Yeah, it is. It's the stop and smell the roses kind of area. You everywhere you stop and look,
And everybody's
it's
paying top
beauty.
dollar to live here.
Yeah. Right. Well, John, thank you so much. I know, like I said, how busy you are, so I so appreciate it, and we appreciate everything that you're doing for the community. So keep it up, lovers and haters, who cares? It just
You
means
know,
you're doing something, right? If you're not controversial, you're not doing anything. You're not doing enough.
that's what I always tell people, dude. Like at the end of the day, none of it matters to me. I sleep with myself and I sleep with my wife. That's the only opinions I need.
Yeah,
But it's good advice for everybody. Just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You sleep with yourself and you sleep with your spouse at the end of the day.
yeah. Well, thank you. That's a great thing to end on. And as always, thanks to the listeners for letting me share my love of Lake Geneva and the wonderful people like John who help make it so special. I'm Karen Stray Rappaport. Join me next time as another guest takes their place in the sun. Bye for now.
Thanks, guys.
I feel alright.